Hello, I'm Chanel, this is Spirited Stardust, and today I am doing my end of year tarot tag. Hey Sylvie. So in the middle of the year, I repurposed a booktube tag and did the mid-year tarot tag, and I decided to do an end of year one. So I've made up my own with 11 questions as a sort of fun way to do an overview of your practice this year and the decks that you used over the year. So this is for anyone who wants to participate. It doesn't have to be tarot, even though it's end of year tarot tag. It can be lenormand, oracle, playing cards, just whatever you like, man, whatever you like. It's adjust it to suit, your needs and your whims. But I'll now flip the camera over so you can see what decks I chose to go with the prompts. Okay guys, welcome to the prompt portion. So the first question is a deck you use the most this year. And for me, that is the sparkly Lenormand. This is an indie deck. And I use this most because I use it every single day. So I'll wake up in the morning and I'll say, tell me about my day today. And this is what I pull. So when I do Lenormand, I do 2 cards and I'll read the full description of the first card and then I'll read the joint message of both of them. And I still like to go online and see other people's interpretations. Like I'm in the process of writing down my favorite card meanings that I've seen people derive from putting them together. There's some really interesting creative ones out there. So this is definitely the deck that I use the most. I keep it on my desk. So every morning when I sit down to start trading, I just pull some cards for the day and write it down into my diary. And this is the sparkly Lenormand. The next prompt is a deck that you didn't use at all. So for me, it was just because of aesthetics. This one didn't pair with anything, and it's the Light and Dreams Oracle. So this is a mass market deck. And yeah, it's just got a very distinct sort of color palette and style, and that just doesn't seem to go with many of my decks that I have. I do need to, I think, play around and try and find a match, at least a tarot match for it. But yeah, it's just got a very watery, pastel-y sort of green and blue, feminine-ish kind of aesthetic to it. So I just need to find something that matches. But because all of my new decks didn't have this color story or style, I just didn't use it. So I keep a database, an Excel sheet of all my decks, and I highlight them if I've used them because I just do want to see other decks that I just don't go to, and if so, for what reason. But this isn't because I don't like it. I do really enjoy this deck, especially the write-ups. I do have to read the guidebook with this one because the titles of the cards and the images don't really do much for me in terms of what the actual message is. So I do need to read the guidebook. But yeah, I do like this deck. I just have not used it. And it is the Oracle of Light and Dreams. The next question is, what is your most recent addition to your collection? And mine is Brit's Third Eye Tarot in this tin. Comes with a little paper book, which is so bizarre. But anyway, I purchased this and my first one of it arrived damaged. And I thought about returning it, but the Amazon return system here in Australia was just too annoying. And I tried to do it and I just never got around to doing it. So I thought, you know what, I'll just give away the other slightly damaged tin in my deck giveaway, and I'll just get myself another one because it wasn't too expensive. It's a mass market deck. So I just got this one again. So I still have not yet played with it. I have slotted it now into my December decks because I've got too many decks already in this month of November to play around with, but it's the one that has arrived most recently, and that is Brit's Third Eye Tarot. The next question is a deck you let go of or put in purgatory. And for me, that is a Botanical Inspirations. So this is a mass market deck. It is really lovely. So many people really love this deck. But for me, it's just because I already have so many plant decks. That is probably, out of all the categories, the one that I have the most of is botanical decks. Because of that, I have to, any new additions have to be really unique and offer something different. And this one didn't compared to all the other decks I have. So because I've already got established decks that I love, and especially the indie decks, I just didn't feel the need to keep this one on. It's just also the text heavy fronts, are very overstimulating for me, and I don't like that. It's just too much for me to look at and read on a card face. But yeah, this is a lovely deck. It's just I've got a limited amount of space, and this one isn't going to be staying. So this one is the Botanical Inspirations deck. Okay, so the next question is, what is your favorite pairing of this year? For me, it is the Guided Hand Tarot paired with the Begin Oracle. So the Begin Oracle is one of my all-time ever favorite Oracle decks. I just absolutely adore it, even in its monstrosity of a size. But I think, was it Project Refined Life? I think I saw this pairing on there and I was like, oh my God, I have to get this deck just so I can pair it with the Begin, because they just sing together and they make me so happy, and it's a vibe. It's just two beautiful collage decks with similar color palettes, just really speaking to each other so well, so perfectly well. I just, every time I use it, I'm like, wow, every single time. And it just makes me so happy. So yeah, I believe that was a tarot tuber that I saw it on. Apologies if it wasn't, but I think it was in it. So because of that, it just made my day. It made my year. It made my life. Like when you find two decks that just pair so perfectly together, it feels like heaven. Really, it does. It's just, it feels like you have accomplished something wonderful in life. But yeah, so for my favorite pairings, it's the Begin Oracle and the Guided Hand Tarot. The next prompt is, what has been your favorite mod or bag made? So either your favorite deck modification or the favorite bag that you got to put your deck in, any sort of deck accessory. So for me, it's this bag right here. So inside this bag, I have the Cosmic Laws Oracle. So this one doesn't suit the color. I just didn't have that dark, deep blue. The reason this is my favorite bag is because I did it in Jasmine Puff Stitch, and Jasmine Puff Stitch is my favorite all-time stitch. It just feels so cushy. It looks really beautiful, and yeah, I just love it. So this one, even though it took up almost an entire ball of yarn and a lot of my time, it is my favorite. So I'll just zoom in so you can see the sparkly button. I'm such a sucker for sparkly buttons. So that is my favorite bag that I've made this year. The next question is, what deck do you want for Christmas? And if you don't celebrate Christmas, what deck do you want for your birthday? It's just, what deck would you like to be gifted by somebody? So for me, at the moment, it's the Tantric Takini Oracle. This has been on my sort of watch list for a very long time. And I finally decided that I do think I want it in my collection. So I've put it on my list because my birthday is coming up in case someone buys it for me. But if nobody buys it for me, I will be purchasing it myself for Christmas. That will be my Christmas present to myself. So that is the deck that I want for Christmas. The next question is, what is a deck that you would gift to others? So something that you would buy for somebody else as a gift. So for me, I'm doing the deck that I actually did gift to my best friend. She requested it, and that is the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. So this is a bit of a unique deck in that it's sort of like a luxury mass market deck. So I've noticed there's been a bit of a trend lately of some mass market decks being in a higher price range. So you've got generally mass markets normally tend to be, I guess, between $20 to $50. And then you'd have the indie decks, which tend to be $100 and up, like sometimes $200 for a deck. And so now that there's this new sort of level, a mass market deck in the like $70 to $90 range. Do I think this is worth the extra money? I think because of the book quality, like the book quality is fantastic. Yes. In terms of like the cards themselves, probably not. Like it's a better than average mass market card stock, but it's still quite expensive to be honest. But I think it's a good middle ground for someone who wants something with a bit more quality, but cannot pay the indie deck prices, which can be quite astronomical, to be honest. But yeah, this was a deck that I bought for my best friend. So she doesn't really do cartomancy. I have given her decks before, but I don't think any of them really resonated with her. But then out of the blue, she said, have you seen this deck? I think it looks amazing. I'm going to save up for it. And so I was like, well, obviously I have to buy it for your birthday. If I'm going to get you a gift and there's a tarot deck that you want, I'm going to get you that tarot deck. And because I got it for her, I decided to get it for myself as well. So I kind of also gifted it to myself so that we could be twinsies and have the same deck. So yeah, this was a deck that I did give to somebody else, and it's the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. The next question is, what is a deck that you fell in love with this year? And for me, it's the Lost and Found Oracle by Layla Rees. So this was a Kickstarter deck. And to be honest, on the Kickstarter, I didn't really think a lot of it. I edged mine in red so it doesn't come edged. Visually, it's a collage deck. It's okay. It's fine. Wasn't anything that really stood out to me, but I decided to take a punt on it anyway. And I'm so bloody glad I did, because I have just become obsessed with this deck. I worked with it in October and I have not put it away. It is still on my desk. There are so many cards. So I feel like until I've gone through it a couple of times, I'm definitely not going to put it away. I just find the write-ups to be phenomenal in this deck. I love the write-ups. I'll just show you what they're like. So there's a whole structure and system to this, but the write-ups themselves, you have the picture, you have a question. The questions are always fan-bloody-tastic. You've got the write-up here, and then you've got the illuminated, the shadow, the keyword, and the practical medicine. And the practical medicine is normally some sort of activity, and I'm a sucker for an activity with a deck, but it's just got all of the components that I love in guidebooks. It's got really something different that I haven't read before, so it doesn't feel like it's Groundhog Day reading the same thing over and over. And I like the system. I think the system is cool. I've actually bothered to learn it, and I actually do reference it whenever I pull a card. So could I just do, so this is definitely a deck I use with the guidebook. I don't really, I just use my own intuitive hits from these cards. So I absolutely love it. It's also a deck that I can riffle shuffle really well, and I don't really riffle shuffle. I don't like doing it, but I do it with this one because I can do it really well. So it makes it more enjoyable. But yeah, this deck just somehow really speaks to me, and I really like it. And we formed a bit of a bondy bond, and I am breaking my no yarn buy for it so I can get a yarn that I think is a good color match, because, and I'm doing I'm doing a red and blue one because it's red and blue. How can I not do red and blue? So this was definitely the deck that I fell in love with this year, and it is the Lost and Found Oracle. Okay, so for the last two prompts, I'm going to be using my Lucid Dreams Beginners to answer the last two prompts. So the first question is, which card sums up this year as a whole? And it sucks that this is the card, but it is for me the Three of Swords. So the keywords here: heartache, emotional pain, sorrow, trauma, grief, hurt, loss, depression, broken. So this year I had 4 deaths in my family. That is a lot of people to lose in 1 year. My grandmother and grandfather passed away within a week of each other. And this came also on the back of my 3-year romantic relationship ending. I also had a lot of health issues and illness this year. So every time so many things just kept happening. I was just put through an emotional spin cycle pretty much. Every time I thought, okay, it's going to stop now, I can climb out, the cycle would start again, and I'd just be thrown around and battered and bruised and emotionally heartsick. And it's obviously been a big year too. I think when you have this card, it's obviously also healing every time, after each loss, after each grief and heartbreak. There is that period of healing and growing. But I just felt like every time I did go through that, another blow would come. So whilst there have been many beautiful moments this year, a lot of very significant traumatic life experiences did happen. This is along with all of the regular ups and downs that you get in life, but having deaths and breakups and illness and robbery and just everything else, it was a lot to deal with. It was quite full on, and I am looking forward to a new year, new energy. I don't know why it was all in this year. Obviously, there's been, like I said, a lot of transformation from it, and everything that you experience in your life changes you in some way and alters your path. So as much as it hurt, I'm trying my best to use it as medicine. So even though, I was put through the ringer, I do feel like I have processed those emotions well. I have sat with them, I have felt them, and I have allowed them to help me grow as a human being. That being said, I've already said on my channel that I hope November is a turning month for me, and has more joy than sorrow. I'm hoping to tip the scales the other way, because I've just felt like majority of this year has been a bit on the shadowy, darker side. But yeah, surely with 4 deaths, there's no more deaths coming this year. Like, what are the odds of that happening? So I'm hoping, that this is now the darkest before dawn, and I'm in for a new sunrise and a new day. But if I had to pick a card, it is this one, because I just had to feel it over and over and over again with so many different reasons for that. So it's the 3 of Swords. And for the last question, it's pull a card for the new year. So I'm going to shuffle the deck, and I'm going to see, I don't really do year ahead tarot spreads, because I just feel like things change way too quickly for them to be accurate. But I might just for funsies, let's pull a card for the new year. What's the overall energy of 2024? So let's see what 2024 has in store for me. Oh, okay. Wow. It's so funny. In that 3 of Swords card, when I was saying generally after this comes healing, this was the card that came to mind. If I was going to pick a card to, for every time I got the 3 of Swords, what I would experience after the 3 of Swords, and it is the Star. So the Star is the hope card, the renewal, miracles, rejuvenation, faith, North Star, purpose, spirituality, inspiration, positivity, healing, and inner clarity. This is the calm after the storm. This is the dawn of a new day. So the worst is over. The time for healing has begun, and you will be given a reprieve. You will be given respite, and you will be given hope that things will be better. So everything is going to get better from this point on, and you've survived. Pretty much, you survived. Congratulations. It's time to pick yourself back up and start walking. So the Star card for a new year, it's also the element of Aquarius and air. So I'm feeling very hopeful for my new year. So let's, optimistic. An optimistic card to start my new year with, thank goodness. I'm not going to lie, I was low-key dreading what I was going to pull out. And so to see this, I almost felt like I had a big exhale. I let go of a breath I didn't realize I was holding. So this is the end of year tarot tag. Like I said, feel free to do whatever you like at your own prompts. I love to see anything that anybody wants to do with this tag. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.